welcome to today's Mill Creek Crossing Connection, brought to you by Dan Dolan and Dan Dolan Homes. Joining us in studio, we have Dwight Wheelan here this morning. And Dwight, we were just talking off air, and I thought it would be a good thing to mention because I know you and Dan had been talking for several weeks about getting a new foundation started and building a new home out there at the Mill Creek development. And just so happens that when you get the basement dug, it rains.
Yeah. Well, now Dan's got to decide. Are we going to build a house or are we going to build a swimming pool? But no, the basement it'll be finished today. Of course, they'll have to pump some water before they can set up the forms and everything. But we do have a house started on Connor Court.
Okay.
Now, it's going to be a ranch-style home. It'll have a three-car garage. And it'll have 3 bedrooms. So if anybody's interested in a home like that, now would be a good time to contact Dan and have some input into how it's finished. He has the format and the floor plan all laid out, but a buyer could have a lot of say in how the inside's finished. And of course, we're anticipating pouring some concrete to extend Garrett Avenue. I don't know how far he will extend it, but there's one lot left on Garrett Avenue. If somebody wants to be in the association where the snow removal and lawn care is provided, we can build a house on Garrett Avenue yet. But then after the extension of the road, there'll be opportunities to build along the Emma Young Park back behind the house. So there's some options coming available in the near future that people can keep in mind. Now, this new house the foundation that's going to be poured is directly behind my house. So It's going to block my view to the south, but that's progress. We need to fill Connor up, and there's some choice lots on Mill Creek Crossing yet. If people have a desire to build over there, contact Dan or Kevin and pick out a lot and talk about starting construction there.
So obviously Dan builds his own homes, but then if you are interested in just the location and you have your own builder or whatever, that's okay too, and you can have your own home built.
That's right, or bring Dan a floor plan and see if he'll provide a quote on it. But yes, if someone has a family member or friend or something that's a home builder, they're welcome to buy a lot, and of course the floor plan has to be approved by Dan because the association on that particular plot of lots, they aren't organized, and so he looks at the floor plan, and if he approves it, why, then the builder can proceed.
Gotcha. And of course, one of the other things that I'm glad you brought it up, because we've talked about it before, but now's a good time to mention it again, is that the buyer can put input into the building process at the beginning stages. So when I say input, there are certain things that Dan just does generally in each home, and maybe you as the buyer can say, could you try maybe this or try that? That's and right. What are some examples of things people could have input on?
Well, in the model home that has recently sold, on the north wall of the living room, there are 2 windows. Mm-hmm. If the windows were in a different position, you could put a fireplace between them. Or you could put your TV stand between the 2 windows. Just things like that, move things around, which doesn't really affect the cost of the home if it's just something minor like that. But if you want a fireplace, then now's the time to decide you want it, and the windows will be placed to accommodate that. They can pick out the type of floor covering they want. Do they want carpet? Do they want vinyl floor covering or tile? he puts tile in the laundry room and entryway, but maybe in the recent home that was sold, the vinyl covering goes all the way to the front door. So a lot of things like that people can change and make Mama a lot happier.
Well, I know you always talked about how generally, this is very general, so we don't want to stereotype anybody, but the guy usually is less care about that sort of stuff, the aesthetics, whereas maybe the wife would be like, oh, I want this or I want that. So definitely get her in there and get her input on this stuff.
Oh yeah. But that's important,
right?
Because this is a home. Maybe for someone, for an elderly person, this is the home that they're going to live in until they leave this world.
Right.
And so you might as well be comfortable and have what you want, not what somebody sold you or what was available and you had to take it or something like that. Have the input and have it so that you say, I'm very comfortable in this home because I had the input and tell how it was built. Now, the homes are very comfortable, so easy to heat and easier to cool because it's an R50 insulation in the attic. And so that keeps old sunshine from beating down and heating up the house in the summertime. But our living expense out there, tax, insurance, utilities, and everything included, we can still live out there for less than $900 a month. So if a person's on fixed income and gets a Social Security check, for $1,500, $1,700, whatever the number might be, they can think, well, everything included is going to cost me $800 or $900, and they've got extra. They see what money they have left over.
That is a great point that you bring up, because at this time of year especially, we've gone through a stretch where it's been very, very hot. And obviously in the wintertime, you go through stretches where it's very cold. And people that live in older homes, that's when they feel the drafty windows,
yeah.
And it's hard to heat, hard to cool, and their bills go way up when you have a heat wave. That's not the case out at Mill Creek, is it?
No, it isn't. No, our curtains don't wave. They're double pane. He's using Pilla or Anderson windows, which are both quality windows. But my electric and gas bill combined last month was $147. I have people tell me, well, mine was $400.
Yeah, that's kind of, yeah.
And the mowing is $65 a month. I've had people say, well, I pay that every time they mow, and they mow 4 times a month. So there's a lot of advantages to build a home, and when we moved into our home, we knew it would be our last. And it's offered us all of the comfort that we anticipated, and it has delivered. We're very comfortable in our home. Of course, we finished our basement, and now we're told not to go up and down steps so much, so we've kind of moved everything upstairs except my office, and so you have that choice too when doctors tell you, hey, quit going up and down stairs. And the other quality thing that people cannot imagine is the roll-in shower. Now, people say, oh, I've got one of those. I've got a walk-in shower. Yeah, but they've still got a 4 or 5 inch step to get in the shower. Mm-hmm. This is literally a roll-in shower. And they see that and they think, well, I always thought I had a walk-in shower. Well, they do have a walk-in, but it's still a step. And slippery shower bottom and things like that can be dangerous. So all in all, it's a very comfortable home, but I would encourage people to watch the progress. It won't be long till the foundation will be poured, and then sometime later you'll have carpenters there making noise. And the thing that if you buy it at this time of year, and tell Dan I want to celebrate Christmas in my new home, you can kind of put the push on him a little bit. He can finish that home in less than 6 months if people want to move in and celebrate Christmas. It's a little too late, I think, to move in for Thanksgiving, which a month ago I was saying that was possible, but
Right.
today I think we better shoot for Christmas.
Okay. Well, last Saturday you had your open house or just light refreshments. How did that go then for you?
Dan and Mary and I were there, and we had a lot of visiting that took place, and I think we settled some issues that we had about how things were going and what was going to happen in the future. So it's just it's progress again.
Absolutely. So we're quickly running out of time here. So if you want to just run down how folks can get a hold of you, or the hours that people are there available.
Mary is there Tuesday through Saturday from 11 to 1.
Okay.
And if somebody wants to show the house or look at the house at a different time than that, they can get a hold of Mary or they can get a hold of me. And if we're available, we'll open the house up and people can have a walkthrough. So if there's a visitor from out of town and they want to show it to them, give us a call. We'd be happy to open it up.
And of course, new home construction started, so that's usually when you start seeing increased traffic of people driving through just wanting to check it out, right?
Yeah, and especially when that crane is putting up the rafters. People see that way up in the air.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Dwight, for coming in and being our guest on today's Mill Creek Crossing. And that is today's Mill Creek Crossing Connection, brought to you by Dan Dolan and Dan Dolan Homes. Listen every Wednesday morning at this time here on KROS.